maybe your goal is to be a low cost provider. There's different levels. You can either be low cost or a product differentiator, and you can have a broad market or a niche market. And then you can be a low cost broad market, you can be a low cost niche market, or you can be a product differentiator, broad market, product differentiator, niche market. Um, and those are the four different business strategies that you can operate out of, which if you want to choose the low cost, say broad market, you want to service as many people at the lowest cost possible, you need to think of Walmart when you're doing that. Okay? You need to think of Walmart. And then for product differentiator, niche per se, you got to think of Ferrari, right? So things like that. And maybe you want to put yourself in that low cost broad market, and which is where I used to put my business, was in the low cost broad market, to where if I can just have a lower price than everybody, that customer will choose me, and blah blah blah, blah, and I'll blah blah blah. But then what it turned out is I wasn't making that much money. In some instances, when things went wrong, I lost my ass, man. Lost my ass, all right? And it wasn't fun. And I'm sitting there in my van wondering, feeling all this pressure about, because you get a business owner and everybody's like, yeah, man, you're the money man. You make all this money, you own the business, and blah, 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 blah. Fuck no, man. It's not always like that. And that's a funny thought that goes through other people's heads when they're not on this side of the table. They don't have those shoes on. Um, but anyways, I used to try to put myself in that broad, low cost business strategy. And then I would find myself feeling all this pain of not making that much money at all. And I'm sitting here watching these companies with these, they got the two riding lawn mowers, they all got backpack blowers, they all got uniforms on, they got a nice F-150, F-250 trailer, pickup trailer, pickup trailer pickup truck, and they got a nice 10 by 12 trailer to carry all their stuff. And it's just like I'm sitting there in my minivan with no trailer and my push mowers and my one weed whacker, and I'm just looking out at those guys wondering, how in the hell can you end up affording all that stuff? How in the hell can you make enough money from this and then go out and buy those $10,000 lawnmowers a piece? How can you afford that $40,000 truck? How can you afford that $1,200 trailer? I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. But it was because I put myself in that low cost, broad business strategy, in which, yes, that is an option. But what I didn't realize until a little while ago was that those guys out there who have those riding lawnmowers, who have the employees doing all the work, right? Who have the employees in the field, okay? Um, they put themselves, now I don't know if they go niche or if they go broad, but usually in lawn care, if you're just doing lawn maintenance especially, you're broad, because it's not necessarily the most niche thing in the world, like gardening or stuff like that. But those guys put themselves in the product differentiation side of things versus the low cost things. And the product differentiation side of things says, my product slash service is different. I'm going to charge a premium per se for my services because we're different than the next guy. So then you kind of ask yourself, well, how can I be different than the next guy? We're not doing anything but showing up, cutting your grass, weed whacking it, blowing it off, and maybe we edge it. How is that different? A few ways that it can be different is your customer service. I made a video the other day about customer service. Maybe you have exceptional customer service. You know, you get a phone call, and if you miss it, which happens, you get back with them within a day or two. You're on top of your emails. You know, you're not responding to people a week later. So that's one way that you can differentiate yourself is customer service. Another way that you can differentiate yourself is by, you know, being insured. Okay, you go to a property and send a golf ball through the window and it breaks the window and it hits an antique that's like 40 years old and it falls on the ground and it shatters, and then it's shattered on top of the dog, so now the dog has to go to the vet, right? You can cover those costs because you're different and you have the insurance to cover those costs. Okay, so you'll end up being okay. So that's kind of one way that you can put yourself in that product differentiation market, and kind of how you can maybe charge a higher price than the next guy and leave that low cost market. Because to me, at least the way that I kind of see it, is the people who are in your industry for the low cost market, those are usually people who are just quick in, quick out of your industry and the business. Maybe they're just in that business for like a couple extra dollars. You know, they want to save up, pay off some personal debt, or they want to save up and take the family on vacation. You know, they're not in the business to be in it for the long haul and run the business up until, you know, whatever. They're not in it for that. So they're just going to go in there, try to be cheaper than the next guy, make a little bit of change, and leave.